Hi everybody, welcome to Shell Lectures. So today we'll be dealing with an NCERT Class 12 Biology topic, Reproduction in Organisms, Chapter 1, Part 3. Already 2 parts are over. You can refer to my YouTube channel to find out those 2 parts. So in Part 3, actually I have to just recap what we learned in the previous part because this is the continuation of that. So events of fertilization is what we learned in Part 2. Okay, events of fertilization. The first thing is pre-fertilization. Pre-fertilization and then fertilization and then post-fertilization. Pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization. These are the 3 events of fertilization. So we were discussing about the 2 types of pre-fertilization, that is gametogenesis and gamete transfer. Okay, so here also we have 2 divisions, zygote formation and embryogenesis. Okay, so these are the 3 events. Pre-fertilization is something which occurs before fertilization, and the 2 processes that occur there are gametogenesis and gamete transfer. So I have talked about gametogenesis in the previous video, and today we will be discussing about the rest 4. Okay, gamete transfer, fertilization, zygote formation and embryogenesis. So now that the gametes are formed by means of gametogenesis, male and female gametes are formed, and we learned about a lot of facts about the gametogenesis. Now we have to know how these gametes are transferred. How these gametes are transferred. So that is the second step. These gametes must be transferred. Am I right? Only then fertilization can take place. So how these gametes are transferred? I told you that most of the mammals, not only most of the mammals, almost every organism, the male gamete is motile, that is it moves, okay, and the female gamete is stationary. That is it stays, that's it, okay, it does not move. Okay, for example, even in humans we can take example as sperm and this ovum. So this is stationary and that is motile. Okay, so these kind of gametes if produced, this male gamete has to, what is that, reach the female gamete. Am I right? It has to get transported to the female gamete. Only then fertilization can occur. So this is the thing with a lot of organisms except some species of algae and fungi where both are motile. Okay, male gametes are also motile, female gametes are also motile. So how are these things transferred? In several species of algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes, so the male gamete must be transmitted or transported to the female gamete. Am I right? Only if they both fuse, fertilization can occur. So if the male gamete is here and the female gamete is here, okay, so it has to get transported, and for these 3 types of organisms, the medium of transport is water. So water is the medium in which the male gametes are transported towards a female gamete, and water is the medium where the fertilization occurs for these kind of organisms. Okay, so this is how the gamete gets transferred. So as the male gametes and female gametes, as a lot of male gametes can be lost during the transport, nearly 1,000 times. The male gametes are produced nearly 1,000 times of the female gamete. Okay, so the male gametes are produced 1,000 times more than the female gamete, only because during transport some male gametes may get lost. Okay, so that we have to know. Okay, so in plants which produce seed, okay, for example, angiosperm sweetens. in most of the angiosperms. How does fertilization occur? That is, how does the pre-fertilization event occur? We know a peculiar word known as pollination. Okay, pollination is the word. It's a word which defines all the processes which occur in the pre-fertilization events as far as the angiosperms are concerned. Okay, so pollination is a word. So what is pollination? So in angiosperms, the things which carry the male gamete are the pollen grains. Am I right? So the pollen grains are the ones which carry the male gamete. So these pollen grains from one flower have to be taken to the other flower, or have to be taken to the stigma of the other flower. Am I right? So that kind of a transfer from the pollen to the stigma of another flower is known as pollination. Okay, but if it is unisexual, this thing happens. Unisexual, this thing happens. That is, if the male is separate and female is separate, then the pollen grains from that should come and reach here, and all those things have to happen. What if it's bisexual? This process is so easy. Am I right? In bisexual, no pollination occurs, just it will be, the pollen grains will be shedding and immediately it will fall on the stigma and it will start germinating and all the fertilization events will take place. But if it's unisexual, they have to be transported via pollen grains, they have to be transported to the stigma, and the pollinating agents help in that. Okay, so some kind of insects help in that, or wind or air. Okay, so whatever, anything can help in the pollination. So this is how the angiosperms are undergoing the pre-fertilization event. So from this we can come to know that the gamete transfer, that is the transfer of the male gamete to the female gamete, becomes very important for fertilization to take place. Okay, so now the next thing is, so now pre-fertilization events are over. Now we are moving on to fertilization. Fertilization is the actual fusion of male and female gametes. Actual fusion of male and female gametes is known as fertilization. That is, the male gametes will be transported via water or any other medium, or even by pollination or some other methods. It will be going to the female gamete, and the process where they both fuse together is known as fertilization. Okay, so this is the basic definition for fertilization, and here fertilization is also known as syngamy. So what's the other word for fertilization? Syngamy is the other word for fertilization. Both these terms can be used to refer to this process. Okay, so the fusion of male and female gametes results in the formation of zygote. But this zygote can also be formed without even the involvement of male gamete. That is, the female gamete itself will form the new organism via the zygote. Okay, so the female gamete does not even need the receiver, that is the male gamete. It will itself form the zygote, and then the further processes will take place. And this process is known as parthenogenesis. Okay, here does any fertilization occur? No, am I right? I told you that the male gamete is not at all necessary for this process. So the fusion does not occur, so fertilization does not occur. And this process is known as parthenogenesis. That is, the organisms which are developed without fertilization. And a very famous example is turkey. Turkey is an example for this, and also we have rotifers, honeybees. Okay, honeybees. All these are examples for parthenogenesis. That is development of organisms without fertilization. Okay, in absence of fertilization, these organisms emerge. Okay, now we have to know about two terms: internal fertilization and external fertilization. Internal fertilization and external fertilization. Internal, external. So internal fertilization is nothing but the egg will be in the female body, inside the female body, and the male gamete has to get into the female body to fuse with the female gamete. So that's something which occurs internally in the female body. Am I right? So everything concerned with fertilization occurs inside the female body. So internal fertilization, the male gamete has to get into the female body and then get fused, and then the processes will occur. So that is internal fertilization, and the examples are mammals. Okay, mammals and others also. And external fertilization. What is external fertilization? Just now we talked about that. Algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes. I told you that male gametes will be here, female gametes will be here, and they have to move through water and they have to fuse with that, and the new zygote will be formed here itself. So this kind of fertilization is known as external fertilization because this occurs outside the female body. Okay, what do you think is more advantageous? Is it internal fertilization or external fertilization? Of course, internal fertilization, because in external fertilization, the zygote will be formed somewhere in the water, and till it reaches adulthood, what happens? It will be always vulnerable to threat. It should always be frightened about things which are going to happen around it. So, what is that? In external fertilization, the zygote is formed outside the female body, so it will be formed somewhere in water. So it is very vulnerable. Its survival is itself very scary thing. Vulnerable until its adulthood. So compared to these two things, internal fertilization is better because proper fertilization processes are occurring only inside the female body. Okay. Okay. Now fertilization is only that much. And now fertilization process is over, so we have to move to post-fertilization events. What happens after fertilization? So I told you that when the male and female gametes fuse, what will be formed? Zygote will be formed. So that's the first step, zygote will be formed. So in some species of algae and fungi, this zygote will develop a hard layer around itself. Okay, it will develop a hard layer around itself to prevent damage. Okay, the only thing is to prevent damage. Whereas things which organisms which undergo haplontic life cycle. What is that haplontic life cycle? A life cycle which gives rise or which produces haploid organisms. That's the meaning. Okay, life cycle which produces haploid organisms. So in the organisms which haplontic life cycle occurs, the zygote, what will happen? It will divide into haploid spores. And these spores will give rise to new organisms. Okay, so in haplontic life cycle, in organisms which undergo a haplontic life cycle, the haploid spores are produced and these new organisms all will be haploid, and that's why as the haploid new organisms are produced, this life cycle is known as haplontic life cycle. Okay, so from this you would have come to know that the zygote is the beginning cell of every living organism on earth. Okay, it's the beginning cell, it's the precursor of everything which happens in our life. So zygote is this much, that's also post-fertilization zygote formation. And then what happens after zygote is formed? What's the next step? Embryogenesis. That is formation of embryo. Zygote becomes embryo. And this process is known as embryogenesis. Embryogenesis is the next process. Okay, so embryogenesis is nothing but here the zygote must undergo some kind of cell divisions. That is mitosis. Okay, it has to undergo mitosis. Also, it has to undergo cell differentiation. So, these two processes have to occur to the zygote for the formation of embryo. Okay, so at last embryo will be formed. Okay, so now the next two terms. Oviparous and viviparous. Okay, So oviparous, there is a big O here, am I right? So these are organisms which lay eggs. And viviparous are the ones which give birth to young ones. Okay, so oviparous are ones, the organisms which lay eggs, and viviparous are organisms which give rise to young ones. And here the example are birds and reptiles. Here the example are mammals. Okay, so oviparous is this and viviparous is this. So they lay eggs which are surrounded by a calcareous shell. Okay, it is a very hard, the shell will be covered by a very hard substance and it will be left in an outside environment, and after a particular period of time known as incubation period, the young ones will come out of the egg. Okay, and here in viviparous, the organism, the zygote, everything will be formed inside the body, so internal fertilization. So everything happens inside, and the zygote and the embryo, everything will be formed inside the body, and after a certain stage of growth, the baby will be expelled out from the parent's body. So that is viviparous. Which is better again? Viviparous is better because here proper embryonic care is taken, but here proper embryonic care is not taken. Okay, I told you that this is external fertilization. Okay, so this is what? So viviparous and oviparous. And now what happens after fertilization? So after fertilization in flowering plants, in angiosperms, the embryo is actually formed in the ovule. Okay, so the embryo is actually formed in the ovule, and the ovule turns into seed. The ovary turns into fruit. Okay, so inside this seed is the precursor for the next generation, that is embryo. Okay, so inside the seed the embryo is there, ovary, fruit, and then fruit wall, pericarp will be developed. Okay, so after all of these are done, then if you disperse the seeds, then what will happen? It will germinate and it will give rise to new organisms. Okay, so that's it for chapter 1 NCERT Class 12 Biology. The first chapter is over. Soon I will be meeting you with new videos on new chapters. Stay tuned to all my videos. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so far. Like and share my videos to people whomever you know. Thank you so much.